Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about progression in Torchlight Infinite, basically getting you from 0 into tier 7s and tier 8s. Now, Torchlight Infinite's progression feels very easy up to a certain point, but after that, things change. And that's why you really have to start farming Flame Elementiums or short FEs to buy the items that you want to upgrade and do higher tier content. How you do that, I will talk about in this video, plus a few extra small tips here or there. But people already played the game before and they just want tier 7, tier 8 strats, plus the Atlas trees, go to this timestamp right here. Should also be down below. But yeah, so once you start the game, you will see it opening up over time. You start at time mark 1 and you go all the way to like 8, profound, and also deep space. Now, the thing is, 1 to 4 really doesn't matter. Time mark 5 is where it starts to get spicy because now you can drop Flame Elementiums naturally. Before that, your build will get carried by crafting. There's no build that I've ever heard of that needs any Flame Elementium to get to time mark 5. Even after that, you're only going to drop a few in time mark 5, time mark 6, where you can maybe buy some upgrades. But time mark 7 is really where it gets fun. So big milestones, tier 5s, you're going to drop an FE here or there. Tier 7s and tier 8s. Obviously, there's more and they're all big steps, but that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So tier 7s is where you start to make a ton of money off of Watchers. Now, Watchers are these mini bosses that can now drop tier 8 beacons. So if you're not farming them, you're farming them for other people and selling it to them. Now, they can range from 3, depending on layout, all the way to Glacial, which goes to 4 in bulk, sometimes even a little bit more. Now, before I even get into tier 7 and tier 8 strats, quick a few tips. You really need to reinvest everything into your build. Like everything you make should not be lying around. You shouldn't be waiting. You should upgrade your build over and over and over. Higher content in this game. It's not like in PoE where you're going to sit in tier 16s and make decent money while tier 17s make a little bit more, or 16.5s. No. The difference is like astronomical. Like we're talking 50 FE an hour versus 1,000 plus. Your build needs to get better constantly. And this game has a ton of multipliers. So even though you're currently maybe only doing a few million damage, you'll be at a few billion soon. Second important tip is check everything in your inventory to sell at every point. Even throughout early stages, you will drop certain things that sell. For example, you're going to get winding keys from one of the nodes we're going to talk about. These sell quite well, right? They sell for 0.5. The ones you get from the quest, you unfortunately can't sell. Same with Elixir of Oblivions, right? They also sell for around about 0.5. People need those. Netherrealm Resonance, a stack of 999 currently sells for around 90 FE. And then everything here, right? It's extremely easy to price check, so go through everything. And also, like, go through the compasses that you drop. It's going to be an FE here or there. It adds up really quickly. And also set up your pets correctly, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. There's really only 3 things you have to know going into tier 7s. Most mechanics are bad with it. That means that most mechanics want you to scale a lot of quantity. So if we're talking about, for example, the Atlas tree here, we can see a ton of different things, right? And they all scale extremely well in late game with compasses and everything, but they're not good. Tier 7s is like child's play compared to some of the later difficulties. So that will kind of bleed over in what I'm going to tell you to farm for this. Speed equals monies or FEs or whatever you want to call it. If you want to farm the most amount of currency, move speed or attack speed, and your move skill is king. And that is because of completions. I'm in 7 zeros right now. Yeah, okay, so there it is. If you, for example, go to Voidlands here, you can see there is 2 out of 8. That means I have 2 star shards, which are basically these completion tokens. And once I have 8, I can then do the Watcher. Be careful because if you store more than 80, they just get lost. Now, these bosses don't drop a lot of interesting loot, right? If you look on the right side, there's a few things, but nothing really sells unless you maybe get a precise fearless, which happens very rarely. But what they do drop is tier 8 beacons, like I talked about earlier, and those do sell for FEs. Now, what you want to do is you want to speed farm 7 zeros as fast as possible as you can. You can see right here, I'm in 7 zeros. You want to farm them as fast as you can, but the boss, if you can, you want to do in 7 twos. So once you unlock 7 0 and you get into 7 1s, you actually will get to time mark 7 2, right? Which makes it a lot more difficult, but it carries over the star shards that you had from the 7 zeros. It uses the same ones, right? So you can do everything super quick in 7 0 and then farm the boss in 7 2. The reason this is important is because 7 2s drop 2 times the amount of tier 8 beacons. This is a guaranteed reward. I'll show you this real quickly. I'm in a 7 2 right now. I'm going to do the boss and yeah, show you real quick. So I'll go in, boom, skip. Dead, right? Okay, cool. always drops 2 of these and a beginning. Now, beginning is the boss entry, right? The boss key. And, oh, that's the end. Beginning currently go for around 1.5 FE. So a rule of thumb is you get around 8 FE per boss back. And this will obviously fluctuate, but you kind of get the gist. Now, how do you efficiently do those maps as fast as possible so you can get to the bosses fast? Now, the only thing that matters at this point in your star chart is chance to replicate your star shards. You can get up to 27% chance to replicate them. And then as well as that, there's also a watcher tree. You can unlock 2 of these points if you did the traveler ones, right? So the guy in the middle, the big boss, you're probably going to need around about 50 million damage or so, or higher, depending on your build and how your damage uptime is. Honestly, I've seen him be done on less. If you understand the mechanics there, he's really not that hard. But either way, I digress. So if you get that as well, you get the 27% chance plus another 20% from this major node right here for a total of 47. Now, there are a few maps in every region that are fast and you're going to kind of figure it out on your own, but Thunder Wastes really takes the cake here with 2 layouts that are extremely, extremely fast. So you don't care about the cards at all, right? Like I said, you're not farming anything specific. You're just getting to the boss and getting the star shard. The most well-known map is Prayer Sanctuary. So you just go in, you don't roll anything, right? And what you do is this layout right here, you go in, you go up the stairs, and there you are at the boss immediately. You don't do anything along the way. If you randomly drop something, obviously you pick it up, boom, boss. This was around about 10 seconds, right? You can do this over and over and over again. There's 0 variables here. There's 0 luck involved. What I like to do, however, is actually Grove of Calamity. This layout is longer, but you will actually kill all the mobs along the way. So if you do that, you would want God of War. So you run through and everything along the way dies. And the thing is, you'll actually get quite decent XP and you'll get the occasional FE drop. And you would be surprised how that adds up. However, it does take around double as long. So if you don't care about XP at all, probably not the best thing to do. But as you can see right here, I've cleared basically everything on the way. Now, this layout also exists in Glacial Abyss, and it's right here. It's called Demiman Village, and it is exactly the same layout. Like, I mean, 1-to-1 the same layout. And all that changes is you really want to take that God of War at the start so you can get some speed. And you will be able to farm round about half of the bosses. So it's probably only good if you need the XP. You're going to get an FE here or there. You're going to get some Flame Sand, which is very nice for crafting later. You're going to get some Precious Embers. So in general, I prefer it. I personally do this one, but Prayer Sanctuary is the one that most people do. Now, the tree on this, I didn't put in all the points because I'm assuming you're not going to have all the points. Honestly, other than the Star Shards nodes, you get Winding Keys here, you get Elixirs of Oblivion, you get a little bit of Quant, which doesn't do much. You take these Ember nodes. Now, all you would really do if you farmed the other layout, right, where you would want God of War, is you would unspec like some of these points here. You would maybe keep the Embers, keep the Rezos, but unspec a lot of the drop Quant here and whatnot. You probably want to keep the monsters and then spec into God of War. And you don't really need any duration because the map is going to be very fast, but these 15 points here are required to give you a total of 100% chance to get God of War, and that's the one that gives you movement speed, damage, and AoE. Now, once you get into tier 8s, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated because people ask me all the time, what's good in tier 8s? And the truth is, it depends on what pets you have. It's just that straightforward. There are some mechanics that I'll show you that are better without pets than others, but in general, the first thing you should do is think about what you want to pull for with your 3 currency, or if you're willing to invest something, what you want to pull from. What do you like to do? For example, this league, there is this lady right here, which is ridiculously strong with the league mechanic, and that I personally do. I'll show you in the strat that I'll do. It's the one that I do right now. But in general, that's what it is. So there's a ton of strat out there. If you have a specific pet or even a higher tier pet, then go and seek those out, right? Like from other players. In game right here, there is a section where you go to Pro Builds and you can see quick loot, right? Here's the build section and here's quick loot. And there's a ton of people who have their strats saved up and you can check them out. With that said though, your biggest friends in the game are actually FE pets, and it doesn't even have to be a legendary. Here's Chalk. This is one that a lot of people want. It is a great pet. But these two right here, which are a lot easier to get, is Cloud Gatherer and Happy Chonky. And they will give you more Flame Fuel. Flame Fuel is both Flame Sand and Flame Elementium. And you will get these leveled up over time, even if you're free to play. There's just no way around it. You're going to randomly get them while you're pulling for other stuff. But yeah, so right here, there is a plan that you can fill out. And if you have the Battle Pass, you can also allocate certain trigger conditions to changing your plan. So for example, if I go right here, you can see that when I'm starting a carjack, it will take my Outlaw. And afterwards, it flips into another plan, right? And you can kind of like fill this out however you want. I haven't filled them all out, but yeah, if you have a lot of pets, then that's what you do. Now for the strat that I'm going to show you, all you need is these two at the start when starting a carjack. Now, what does this mean? So if you just go into a map real quickly, there is the Lee mechanic, right? Which is this bus that just opens up and there's a lot of mobs coming out. And that's the carjack, right? So you can see it down here. We actually dropped a random FE. That's pretty funny. Here it is, right? You pop it, and what will happen is when I click on it, the pets from the Lee mechanic will activate. And right after I go, you can see it automatically swapped back. And that means that now I'm getting my FE pets again. So the pets only have an upside when you click on the bus, and afterwards you get all the advantages from your FE. If you don't have the Battle Pass, you can press Escape and then go to Control Settings, and you can actually see that you can bind these plans towards a button. So you can just have it per default that it's one packed, and then you swap between them. Here's the strat I'm running though. So basically the lead mechanic scales extremely well with drop quantity, which is why you want both the 30% drop quantity in Netherrealm stages. This means that you will only have 2 portals, so you can't die too much, but I mean, hopefully you aren't. And then you also want these ones right here, which give you an extra 10% quant. Now, what else scales well? This is up to you. I added Mistville. Basically, these are just going to drop eyes. I'll show it when I do a normal map. But yeah, eyes sell for good money. Let's see how much I currently have. I haven't sold in a while. Yeah, 492. These sell for, you can usually scroll down. Don't get baited from the top stuff. They sell for around about 0.7 to 0.9. Other than that, I'm also taking God of War, which gives you a ton of speed. And it's also super good at catching those goblins during the lead mechanic. Every bit of speed is super important. And I'm even taking the full increased duration as well. After that, in the general tree, as you can imagine, we're just taking all the quantity, all the mobs. Also, Ember duplication is still super strong. And I'm taking Star Shards because the bosses are quite good as well. And they drop several stacks of FEs. Plus, the bosses in tier 8s have a chance, although a slim chance, at some very good items. For example, Precise Stand as one, which currently sells for like over 2,000, I think. And also Ghost Slaughter, which sells for around about 600. The region I'm running is Blistering Lava. In my experience, it has been the best for the lead mechanic. You really want a tight mechanic where the goblins can't go anywhere. So I'll show you that. But yeah, I am running whatever gets me here, right? Like Quant is extremely good on cards. Chest is extremely good. Increased Embers. Gear is usually shit. This is just something you have to figure out on your own. But I'm just going to start here. Now, you want to get the drop quantity up to 100%. If this is too hard for you, then you can also do it lower, but it is definitely worth the investment, and you're going to have to buy those Netherrealm resonators. As well as that, you're also going to have to buy the tier 8s from the market. You will never self-sustain these, not in this strat anyways. We're not using any compasses, so there's no extra there. In terms of modifiers, honestly, the only annoying one is procs bubbles for me, but it can depend on your build, obviously. So now we open Portal. So the reason I added eyes to the strat is because I don't want anything here that takes away from my time, right? I want to blast as many maps as possible because that means as many of the carjacks as possible. So I go in and I take my God of War, and I'm basically just going to do this. This is an 8 zeros where you would want to be an 8 ones or a 2 as soon as you possibly can. They get quite a big increase of quant. Now, I actually did get a bounty here, which is kind of good. I'm not supposed to do Arcana, but I just ran over it, whatever. So I got a bounty. If you have a bounty, cool. It's pretty luck dependent. In this case, we're just going to take it. Now, important to note, always chase after the goblins immediately. And this is where you really have to lock in, because the difference between you being fast and you being slow is like half loot or something. It's really that simple. And if you have no movement speed at this point, it's time to invest. These things here that you saw on the minimap are the ones that drop most of your loot. And yeah, the goblins will also drop you coins, which you can later convert into vault runs and whatnot. This is 8-0. 8-1s have significantly more loot, and 8-2s have significantly more loot. So whenever you can do those, you definitely should upgrade. And then once it's over, if you have a bounty, obviously collect your bounty. That was actually a pretty decent one. Okay, cool. Other than that, yeah. After you did that, these are the eye mobs. So they basically drop eyes whenever they die. And depending on your tier, that's also a little bit of extra. So you saw it didn't cost me any extra time, and I just got 3.5 FE for no reason. Basically just like, yeah. The average for eyes is round about 4 to 5. Sometimes you will get explosions of like 20, which is obviously very nice. But yeah, that's about it. And you cycle this over and over and over. And depending on your pet setup, depending on how fast your build is, you will make more or less currency power. But this is a fail-safe way. You cannot lose money. It's a fail-safe way to get your character stronger. Now, the second region you could run is Glacial, and that's for a few reasons. There is a really cool payoff here with Surging Inspiration, which is currently very meta and extremely valuable. There's a few other ones that are also... So this is a little bit more like hype on the boss, which I understand. I personally like these layouts a little bit less, but overall, I can definitely see it, and yeah, that's up to you. Now, the biggest jump in currency, though, is probably once you get from Time Mark 8 to Profound Time Mark 8, and that's for a simple reason. You now will drop a lot more Ultimate Embers, which are like 36 a pop. You will drop Sprout of Legends. You will drop random fossils, right? It is like really huge. You also drop Deep Space Beacons, and the thing is, your entry to a map costs the same. So it's you getting so much more, and you still only pay the 4 FE entry. Yeah, deep space is a whole nother issue that we're gonna talk about another time. But yeah, that's about all I got for today. I have both of these saved as a code down below in the description. You can check it out there. And all you have to do to import it, by the way, is you go to Probuilds, Quick Loot, and then you enter build code. And so for example, you can then follow it, and then once you follow it, right? So for example, let's say you open this right now. I can do apply all, right? Boom. And then you go to the star chart and you will see, there's stuff highlighted here. And then you can pick those nodes. Other than that, though, hope you guys are enjoying the league. I'm probably still going to play for a little bit, and I will min-max my next character, which I will also present at some point. It is quite amazing. It's like having, I don't know, 4. Later, I'll have 6 Mirage Archers on my back, so that's pretty cool. You can also check it out over on twitch.tv/Palsteron. But with that said, since I still never slogan, see you next time.